There is some good news. You just got to read between the lines a little bit. And I'm really excited about this for the Detroit Lions. I think they are about to unleash the perfect offensive set, the one that is possibly the most multiple of all of our offensive sets. And it has to do with the unveiling and the improvement and the almost provenness now of Jahmyr Gibbs. So let's talk about exactly what that set could be, what it's going to look like. Let's look at a couple quotes from Dan Campbell, from Ben Johnson, that are hinting toward this leading into the game against the Chargers this weekend in LA. And we're going to talk about all of that stuff. But first, couple things for you. Like the channel if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment as you're listening to this video if something pops out at you. And then also follow us on Twitter. We're on X now. And so we would love to have your follow on that. We're trying to connect with you guys even more on that platform. It's even easier to do it on YouTube, which we've almost been purely YouTube. We're also on Facebook, so check that out. But here's a couple things that we're talking about. So in talking about Jahmyr Gibbs, here's what Ben Johnson had to say. He said, "We feel good about continuing to push the different schemes at him." Offensive coordinator Ben Johnson said this week. He's been effective inside the tackles. Yeah, he has. He's not just a perimeter player like I think the narrative might be out there for him in the run game. And he proved that. He proved that last week against the Raiders. And his route tree is still growing. Looking forward to getting him and Monty both their fair load of touches. They both have proven worthy of it. Okay, this isn't the offensive set I'm talking about. This is just what we were talking about in the last video where we were saying, hey, it would be really nice if they got a more even touch split. Like if they were both in that 15 to 20 touches a game range. I don't know if you can find a way to get them both that many touches, but you can try. And David Montgomery can be primarily running, but every once in a while mix it up with a pass. And, Gibbs can be primarily outside and in the passing game, but you mix it up with an interior run. All right. They went on to say, Dan Campbell said, "I don't think necessarily sitting here talking to you right now that I see Gibbs getting 65 plays. That means the full assortment of the plays." Campbell said, "I don't see that, but he's going to get his fair share now. We know what he can be, and he's growing. So I think there'll be a little bit by committee and make sure we get those guys touches. Gibbs will get his touches. So we know he's going to get touches. The question is how?" Well, Ben Johnson said something that I thought was very, very interesting. And I've highlighted this for you. And it says this: usually you want to get those guys, those 11 guys, that's how many people you start on offense, out on the field together as much as possible. And I think both those guys are within those top 11 players that we have on offense, Johnson said. So there's a strong argument to get them both out there together more often. What does this mean? 2 running back set, baby. All right, so here's the beauty of the 2 running back set. For starters, it gets better players on the field. So now you can have the weapons of Amon-Ra St. Brown. You can have Sam Laporta out there. You can have David Montgomery, and you can have Jahmyr Gibbs. So you can have all of those guys out there, and then you add a wide receiver of your choice. If you want to go with the playmaking receiver, you go with Jamison Williams. All right. If you want to go pure speed, if you want to go with consistency, you go with Josh Reynolds. If you want to go with, hey, we're going to get gadgety and we're going to have some fun with this, you go Khalif Raymond, because then you can get super multiple on that. And if you kind of want to have a little bit of the explosion / playmaking with the consistency, Donovan Peoples-Jones. So those are the guys you can kind of mix throughout, but you're going to have Montgomery, you're going to have Gibbs. So what does this look like? Well, it starts on the offensive line, because 2 running back sets don't do as much for you if you don't have solid offensive line play. When you have tackles like Taylor Decker and you have tackles like Penei Sewell, the hope is that you can get a free release for your tight end. You can get a free release for your running backs out of the backfield, and they don't need to go up and chip the edge. Now, with the Chargers, That could be a little bit more difficult when you have Khalil Mack and Bosa coming off the edges. I don't know if I'm happy just letting them go one-on-one with our tackles. No matter how good our tackles are, eventually they're going to get there. So you're going to have to do some interesting things. But I think that's the beauty of having both Montgomery and Gibbs in the game at the same time. One can go out on a pass route. Maybe one can be the safety net or the valve or the outlet for Goff, while the other one stays in and helps provide some much needed pass protection. Um, I think like this just makes the offense so much more multiple. With Gibbs, you can move him out into the slot. You can move him out to the outside. You can have him move so he can chip on a linebacker or on an edge. Like there are so many things that you can do. Also, if you need to keep Laporta in more or Brock Wright or whatever tight end you're going to deploy, and you need to keep him in more because he has to chip on Mac or he has to chip on Bosa and he has to be able to give help on that. Well, now if you're losing his passing or his receiving threat, Gibbs can be that receiving threat. He can, if you're losing the safety net that is Laporta, Gibbs can be that safety net. But here's the thing, you never know where it's coming from. Is Laporta going to be the safety net or is Gibbs? Who's going to help in the blocking scheme? You can scheme it up however you want, and it just allows your team to be multiple. You just need one guy that's blocking, one extra guy to help them. And you have to decide which one you're going to leave on an island, whether it's going to be Sewell or whether it's going to be Decker. Sewell right now has the most snaps of any tackle in the NFL without giving up a sack. If that stat is still there after this game, we know he has officially arrived as an elite tackle because there is no team in the league that has a better pass rush straight off the line, straight off the edge than the Chargers. This will allow our team to be more multiple if we can get both these running backs in the game. But it really relies heavily on what is the route tree, what is the development of the route tree for Jahmyr Gibbs. Can Goff trust him? Is he a good enough player to be flexed out wide and still be effective? Because if he's not, there's no reason for it. You may as well just keep Donovan Peoples-Jones, Jameson Williams, Josh Reynolds, Khalil Freeman. You may as well keep giving those guys the position, because if you're never going to throw to him when he goes out wide, it doesn't help anything. All it does is help with some pre-snap reads and what kind of defense they're in for the motion. Okay. But a lot of times they motion the tight end to see what type of defense they're in. So anyways, there you go. I like it. They're about to unleash the perfect offensive set, or at least it has the ability to. I mean, you're talking offensive sets when you have St. Brown and you have Gibbs in there. You're looking at, I mean, that's like Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey in San Francisco. Like, it allows you to do a lot of things. And what I love about it too is you can have a short passing game that ends up getting you big plays, and you can get the ball out quickly, even though, which is perfect against a rush like this. So hopefully you liked it. Hopefully you agree, and we'll see you on the next one.